Now to that new Trump audio. The chief Washington correspondent Mike Emanuel has that story. Mike, what do we know about this?
Yeah, well, I've been out playing with my cameras the last few days. Some interesting kerfluffles have been going on in the news. Right wing, left wing, middle wing, middle wing. Everyone's talking about this audio of former President Donald J. Trump that may prove that he had secret documents, classified documents, that he wasn't supposed to have after his presidency, and furthermore, that he might be sharing it with people who never had a clearance. Let's take a closer look. Well, yesterday, the 27th of June, 2023, I posted a video and I thought, let's put an old familiar song to the background because it was a rather short video. And I never really listened to the lyrics. I knew generically it was about a camera, but it opens up with an interesting lyric that all my years growing up and loving music, I never really picked up on. And it's, quote, "When I think of all the crap I learned back when I was in high school." Well, let's use that as a launching pad for what I know now. So being an Air Force brat and of the appropriate age where my dad retires shortly out of Griffiss Air Force Base, we settled in Rome. And I went to this high school. Whoa, not that long ago. Let's find something more my era. Yeah, that's the RFA I remember. I used to smoke out there in 11th grade. 10th, 11th grade, somewhere around there, between classes. The aides never came here. To the left of this view was the bus area where all the aides and security folks always chased away the smokers. But I was a naughty, sneaky boy, and this is where I smoked. But while I was attending... Oh, they did what? Hold on. Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. Well, this is the kind of breaking news you see on all the news channels, Newsmax, Fox News, MSNBC, CNN. They call it breaking news even though it's old news. Somewhere in the last decade, they tore down my high school and they built this. My old high school is now an empty field in Rome, New York. And this is actually on the former Air Force Base that was known as Griffiss. Now it's known as Griffiss Technology Park, and it's part of Rome now. This modern atrocity replaced my beloved high school. This is a theme when you get to be my age. Shit gets destroyed and new stuff's built in its place. Anywho, this is my memory of high school. That's what's important. It's all about me. Like Donald Trump, I'm going to make it all about me and what I know. While I was here, I heard a big news release from President Ronald Reagan about how the Soviets were outnumbering us. And I also had a friend who was real popular with the girls, and he was in the Army National Guard. So 11th grade, I skipped a class and went to this place. This is the Armory in Rome, New York. Wait a minute, what's that? Was? The theme continues. This is no longer the Armory in Rome, New York, but when I attended that high school, this was the Armory in Rome, New York. It hosted the 42nd Infantry Division. That was the division in World War II, I believe, was a full rainbow. And then because of mass casualties, they made the rainbow a half rainbow. So in 11th grade, I was recruited by the Army National Guard, totally voluntarily, totally to impress then President Ronald Reagan, and hopefully some girls in high school, like my friend who was already enlisted. He did the same thing a year before. I enlisted here, and then I went to this place for basic training, and after basic training between 11th and 12th grade, I went back to this place for AIT, Benning School for Boys. And continuing the theme of things changing, it's no longer Fort Benning. They've renamed it. I don't know the new name, but this is just recently. Anyway, okay, now I am the in the Army Infantry New York State National Guard. And most of you who know me, who know who David Finkel really is, know this about me. I served in the Army National Guard in Rome, New York, under the 42nd Infantry Division. And while on active duty in the real Army, I served at Fort Polk, Louisiana, under the 5th Infantry Division. While there, we deployed to Panama. Remember a guy named Noriega? You probably don't remember him now. You're welcome. And much to my dismay at the time, but hindsight's 2020, I'm very pleased for this experience and preference. While everyone else was going to the Middle East for Desert Storm, I came up on PC orders to Korea, Camp Casey, Korea, 2nd Infantry Division. My battalion did the last tour on the DMZ, the full tour. One battalion did a 30-day tour, but the last 90-day tour on the DMZ by a strictly American unit was 5th of the 20th under the 2nd ID. And then somehow I drew the short straw as an 11 Mike, Bradley Infantry. Got orders to 101st Airborne Air Assault, Screamin' Eagles, or the pet name within the unit was Pukin' Buzzards. Oh, wait, that's what the 82nd called us. Anyway, now I'm at 3rd Battalion, 187th Infantry, under the 101st, under a guy named Lieutenant Colonel David Petraeus. He becomes famous later on. In fact, I'm going to use him in comparison to what's going on now, briefly. But here I am at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Well, even the Army can admit to their mistakes. 13 months after being at Fort Campbell, they realized, hey, there's 11 Mike at Fort Campbell. He's supposed to be somewhere else. So I drew orders to Germany. Germany was later transitioned from 3rd ID, Rock of the Marne, the broken TV division, to the Big Red 1. When I got there, it was Rock of the Marne, 3rd ID. And we did some fun things like deploy to FYROM, F-Y-R-O-M. FYROM is the Army's name for the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia. You all know it as Macedonia. When I got to Macedonia as the forwarding party, I injured myself. I got a hernia. So they sent me back to Germany to recover. And so an infantryman recovering got put in the S3 shop as the school's NCO and a TOC shift NCOIC. So I learned a few things about movement of classified documents. Up there in the S3 shop with the S2 shop and sometimes the S1 shop, this became common experiences. Later on, units have redeployed from FYROM, Macedonia, and now we're doing our usual stuff. Somewhere in there we reflagged to the Big Red 1, 1st Infantry Division, mechanized. Back in its namesake, it wasn't mechanized, but it became mechanized for our sake. And I went back to a line company. Eventually we went to Bosnia, but not before I went to a line company. When we got the orders for Bosnia, I was in the S3 shop. Interesting story there. We'll get back to that interesting story, but then I PCSed to Fort Stewart, Georgia, where my Army career wrapped to a nice, honorable end. Thank God, because Fort Stewart, Georgia sucked. But after the reflagging, they were 3rd ID, or most of 3rd ID was in Fort Stewart, Georgia. And that's where I got my DD-214, my final DD-214. But what many of you who really know me don't know, because I don't talk about a lot. I mean, some of you, my family, and some of you are really close to me, know the deal. But between the Rome, New York Army National Guard in high school and the Fort Stewart, not Fort Stewart, I get Fort Stewart and Fort Polk confused all the time because they both sucked on the same level. The Fort Polk, between the Army National Guard and Fort Polk, there's missing about 4.5 years. What was I doing in that 4.5 years? Not just 1 week in the month with the Army National Guard. I went active duty, but not with the Army. Yeah, I went to the recruiting station there in Rome, New York, which again is no longer there. I think you have to go to Utica to enlist, but uh, I went to go active duty right after high school to get a full-time job, and the Army guy wasn't there, but the Navy guy was, and he talked to me real fast and real smooth, and I became a recruit to become a sonar tech in the United States Navy. Now, keep in mind, to become a sonar tech, you have to have a cleaner background to be in the infantry. Uh, Having done both jobs, I would say anybody can be trained to do the job, but the sonar technician position, I had to get a background check, and I eventually ended up with a secret no foreign clearance. In the Army infantry, at least at the time, you didn't need a clearance. Sometimes you'd be read into confidential or secret stuff. I think in today's Army they're using the SINGARs now. So with SINGARs you have to have at least clearance, because the SINGARs itself is, or at least was when I was getting out of the Army, a device with secret level classification on it. It was a frequency hopping. But back to the Navy in the time, to be a sonar tech, I had to be clearable, one for secret no foreign clearances, and two, to be on something called the Personnel Reliability Program, PRP. This is because sometimes sonar techs have to handle ASROCs, anti-submarine rockets, which sometimes could be a nuclear depth charge. They could be a torpedo or a nuclear depth charge. But to handle these things, you had to be on the PRP program. And because you didn't know where you're going to be assigned as a sonar tech, you didn't know if you're ever going to be co-located with nuclear weapons. So you had to have the skill set and the background check to make sure you were trustworthy to handle such things. My billing was to be on an Adams-class destroyer, Chuck Adams. DDGs 2 through, I forget the highest number, but they were also used in foreign navies, as we see here. I don't know what nation this Adams-class destroyer was sold to. I do see they have the three-dimensional radar, so it's probably a NATO country. I'm going to bet it's not carrying the ANSQ 23 pair alpha sonar system, because that was secret, no foreign. And I would be very highly confident the ASROC launcher only carried torpedoes, because we just don't share our nuclear secrets with anybody. But basically, that's the Adams-class destroyer in a foreign navy. It's the same hull, same design. Basically, the hull is a Sherman class with everything from the main deck up different. It's going to have, if it did have the 23 pair, it would have two sonar domes. I can't see with the sonar domes here, but anyway, my vessels were the Chuck class, Adams class, tin cans in the American Navy, where we did have the capability. I can neither confirm nor deny if we had the depth charge ASROCs on my ship at any given time, but we had the capability. And that's why I was PRP, because of the capability, not because of the actual act. Oh, here's my baby right here. USS Conyngham with the C-O-N-Y, not the C-U-N-I-N-G. DDG-17, notorious for something that happened coming out of Cobb, Ireland in 1988. Google it, you'll see our shame. And something a little more heroic, May 17th, 1987. Google it. That's the very reason why I didn't stay in the Navy for a career. Had some issues with May 17th, 1987, and that's when I went to the Army. But long story short, I know a little something about classifications. But like everything else when you're my age, the Adams class became rust buckets, mothballs, targets, and razor blades. They are no more. They've been replaced with something newer and better. In my day, the Adams class was the workhorse of the destroyer fleet. We had a few one-offs, USS Kuntz, USS Kidd, but mostly it was Adams class. Now we have the Burke class. The Burke class in the time, if I'd stayed in the Navy and got reassigned to the then being built Arleigh E. Burke or one of its classmates, I would have needed a top secret. I don't know if it's still secret or top secret at this time, just to be a sonar tech on one of these, but it's now the workhorse of the Navy, and the Adams class is a goner. There are various categories of classified information. On a high level, you have confidential. Well, on a high level, to keep it brief, there's confidential, and then there's secret. You may also hear of secret no foreign, but that's not one of the basic levels. Secret no foreign is basically secret, and you can't read in England, France, Canada, etc. And you have top secret. Top secret is higher than secret. You're also going to get into things like sensitive compartmented information, SCI. You hear things like crypto or restricted data, formally restricted data. Of course, there's controlled unclassified. You'll hear about that when you get into public trust stuff. Basically, today I'm going to hit up on confidential and secret. There are more, and there are subcategories, but confidential and secret, you'll notice none of the classifications are highly confidential. There is no such classification. Well, I was in that S3 shop, Schools NCO / Talk NCOIC, in the operations of my battalion under 3rd ID. The Dayton peace talks began. Eventually, that led to the Dayton Peace Accord, which meant the United States Army and other parts of NATO would be going to Bosnia to keep the peace. And keep the peace they did. I was not in the first rotation. My battalion did not go on the first tour. But having been in the S3 shop, now that I'm in a line company, one night I was on CQ and I got called up to the battalion headquarters because they needed someone to make an errand. An errand. Interesting, huh? I don't know if it was because I had recently been in the S3 shop or maybe because I was available, just coming off of CQ or being on CQ. Or maybe it was a combination, or maybe they just called all the CQs and they got one who answered the damn phone. I don't know. I got stuck. I had to drive an hour and a half to Würzburg, it's spelled Wurzburg, Germany, at division headquarters, to the G3 shop to pick up a document for my battalion commander. Didn't know what it was. This kind of errand was common for me once I had worked in the S3 shop. I had a reputation, so Sergeant Finkel was one of the guys they would call to run these errands. So I reported to battalion headquarters, got my instructions, and drove by myself to Wurzburg, G3 shop, to pick up a set of sealed folders for my battalion commander. I got there and I was very shocked, having learned what I had learned from the Navy and from earlier issues in the Army, that the folders I was handed by myself, unarmed, one man, to drive an hour and a half back to my battalion in civilian territory, in foreign civilian territory. The document was labeled top secret. I shortly after delivering it to my battalion commander learned what it was. It was our deployment orders to Bosnia. We were going to rotate with the first rotation, and it included locations of river crossings, locations of railheads, where we would merge into Bosnia as outgoing units would merge out. Very detailed, and it was labeled top secret. Up until now, secret information did not leave the compartment it was stored in without staying in a secure area. Confidential, similar, a little bit looser, Top secret required two people. PRP required two people, two or more people. I'm carrying by myself a top secret document. I know better, but now I'm at Würzburg and my battalion commander's waiting for me to deliver this. So it's very shocking for me to be carrying a sealed secret document an hour and a half through the German countryside. This is just wrong. But later on learn it happens. And mishandling of classified information is happening now. The reason my document was top secrets, not secret no form, is because throughout my career we deployed to places like these. Peacetime, but pretend war. We'd pretend that we're invading Russia, or we pretend that Russia's invading Germany, or we pretend that some made-up countries meeting head-on in some neutral country, all pretend wars. And these contingencies sometimes were based on real-life scenarios. Was just a high-level contingency put together for us to train on, just in case it ever happens. This is usually confidential or secret. It's really not a huge deal if the training for preparing for something that's hypothetical and never happens. Sometimes it's not even confidential. But when you are actually getting orders to deploy to a place with details, logistics details, where units are going to be, what they're going to be doing, that's usually top secret. Well, we're way over my intended 15-minute limit because I tend to lose audiences when it goes over 15 minutes. There's another time I tend to lose audiences, and that's when I get political. People are sick of politics and they don't want to discuss or hear more about politics. They want to see people react to a camera. Left, right, middle, libertarian, doesn't matter. When people react to a camera, it's entertaining, and that's what people react to. This is going to get a small view count. However, I'm not monetized, so I don't really care, but we all love to have view counts and subscribers. I currently have over 3,000 subscribers. Probably going to lose some today. Although I don't know how many because, going to get political, I'm sorry, Trumpansies, people who love Trump, have a low attention span. We are now at over 22 minutes, 23 minutes. I doubt very many of them got this far. But if they did, they're probably going to unlike and unsubscribe. To be honest with you, I don't really give a fuck because someone is killing our country. There's a pattern in my life. Rome Free Academy no longer exists. The New York State Army National Guard in Rome, New York no longer exists. The Adams class destroyer no longer exists. And if Trump have his way, the United States of America, under the Constitution as we know it, will no longer exist. So, am I worried about some view counts? Not really, but let's get into it. Here is the audio recording in the current news kerfluffle that everyone's wrapped around the axle about. I'm going to break it down to some parts that caught my attention based on my experience, because it is all about Finkel.
These are bad, sick people.
That was your coup, you know, against you.
Well, it started right at the
like
beginning.
when Millie's talking about, oh, you were going to try to do a coup. No, they were trying to do that before you even were sworn in.
That's right.
Trying to overthrow your election.
Well, with Millie, let me see that. I'll show you an example. He said that I wanted to attack Iran.
Okay, Joint Chiefs of Staff don't just on their own create documents to plan to invade a country. They are asked for by the DOD or the President of the United States for contingency plans, and when they're asked, they put them together. At this point, it is secret. It's not top secret, it's not secret no foreign, it is secret. The reason it's not secret, no foreign, or top secret is because it's high level. It doesn't detail where bases are, where units are, timings of deployments. It's just a basic overall how we would do it if we do it. It's a contingency. It's a hypothetical, and it's therefore no higher than secret. We have these for Canada, for pre-Soviet Union Russia, for post-Soviet Union Russia. We have them for Cuba. We have them for Mexico. We have them for states within the United States. And they're just hypothetical to keep planners on their toes of how to do stuff if the event ever comes to do it. Trump asked Miley for an overall idea of how to invade Iran. Remember, he's very angry at Iran. He assassinated one of their top generals. So, one, it's a secret, and two, this is something he asked for, and he got it.
Isn't it amazing? I have a big pile of papers. This thing just came up. Look. This was him. They presented me this. This is off the record, but they presented me this. This was him. He said that I wanted to attack Iran. Isn't it amazing? I have a big pile of papers. This thing just came up. Look. This was him. They presented me this. This is off the record, but they presented me this. This was him.
Okay, let's move past if Miley tried to push it unasked for or if Trump asked for it. Either way, Trump and the people he's talking to are in agreement that this is from him. This is a paper presented from Miley to Trump for whatever reason. Okay, what paper? He later tells us he's holding up a bunch of newspapers and magazine articles. Look back through all Google searches, libraries, find me a newspaper or a magazine that shows Miley's plan for Trump to order the invasion of Iran. It doesn't exist in newspapers, etc., on or before this recording. Why? Because it's not public information. Whoever asked whoever pushed who to do it, it doesn't exist in the public domain yet. This means there's some kind of classification on it. Unclassified, confidential, secret, secret no foreign, top secret, some kind. But let's figure out what kind.
This was the Defense Department and him. Wow. We looked at some. This was him. This wasn't done by me. This was him. All sorts of stuff. It's pages long. Look. Wait a minute. Let's see here.
Yeah.
I just found, isn't that amazing? This totally wins my case, you know. Mm-hmm. Except it is like highly confidential.
This is like highly confidential. Let's go over the classifications again. Confidential, secret, top secret. And there's additional prescriptions. There's secret no foreign. There's top secret SCI. There's crypto. There is no highly confidential. A person who has been the commander-in-chief for 4 years and then has been shuffling classified documents that he claims were declassified because he's such an expert on declassification, you'd think he knows the difference between confidential, secret, top secret, and you would think he would know there's no such thing as highly confidential. Highly confidential is a braggadocious term, a term used to impress people. It is not an official classification.
There's a secret information.
There's a secret information. All right, so a quick recap up to date. He says this is highly confidential. Paples Russell, he holds it up, and he says this is secret. He corrects himself. Highly confidential is how he remembers his cool papers that he has, and then he holds it up, and it says secret, and he says secret. As he holds it up, and it says secret, and he reads it out loud, secret, the ladies giggle. It's working. He's impressing the narrow-minded mental idiots, and no one corrects him. Well, Mr. President, that's just a newspaper. Mr. President, that's just a magazine. Mr. President, that only says confidential or unclassified. He holds it up. It says secret. He reads secret. They giggle. They acknowledge it is a secret document. Post-presidency, and he claims he has not declassified it.
Look at this. You attack, and
Hillary would print that out all the time, you know.
she'd send
Private
it,
email.
she'd send it to
Yeah.
Anthony Weiner,
Yeah,
the pervert.
please print.
By the way, isn't that incredible?
Yeah.
I was
By the way, isn't that incredible? Yeah. God, how corny can get this skit. He's holding it up. It says secret. He reads secret. They joke about some stupid shit. By the way, Hillary hated Anthony Weiner. He's holding it up. He says it's credible. He says it's secret. And she says, yeah. She's reading secret and she's agreeing with him that it's secrets. That's incredible.
saying, because we were talking about it, and he said he wanted to attack Iran and what. These are the
You did.
papers.
It's pretty
This was done by the military, given to me. I think we can probably, right?
I don't know. We'll have to see. Yeah, we'll have to try to.
Yeah, I'm going to repeat myself because he's repeating himself as he's being braggadocious in front of these ladies. He is validating that this is a document provided to him by General Milley. Whether he asked for it or whether General Milley is pushing it, it's a Department of Defense document, regardless of his classification, even though he reads that it's secret, and the lady in the room agrees. Yeah. It's not a magazine, it's not a newspaper. It is a document provided to him by General Milley, and he's trying to press upon everyone that General Milley did it unsolicited. Solicited or unsolicited, it's a DoD document provided by the top general in the United States Armed Forces. It's not a newspaper. It's not a magazine.
Declassified.
Figure out yeah.
See, as president, I could have declassified
Yeah.
it. Now I can't, but this is
Yeah,
classified.
now we have.
Everyone in the room, including Trump and the people he's impressing because they have little tiny EPP brains, that it is currently classified. Yeah. I could have declassified it if I was still president. Okay, he admits he's not president. He admits that it is classified. They agree. This is after the part of the conversation where they all read and agree that it's secret of all the classification levels. This is secret. And that this is where the media is all over him for admitting to committing a crime, but they're missing the secret parts. But that's okay.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
It's so cool. I mean, it's so. Look, we here I have.
All right, Mr. Braggadocious is in a room sharing classified information with ladies he's trying to impress. That's so cool. Isn't that interesting? To me, this is disgusting. This is like Petraeus when he shared information with that reporter. It's the same thing. Let's continue.
And you probably almost didn't believe me, but now you believe me.
No, I believe
It's
you.
incredible, right?
No,
Hey, bring some cokes in, please.
Bring some cokes in, please. Yeah, yes, snapping his fingers to his servants, probably illegal immigrants, I don't know. But he's throwing a party, he's showing classified information, and he closes it with bring in some cokes, please. Which kind of coke? The kind you drink or the kind you snort? Because, boy, this is just crazy.